We're live. Hey, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you guys coming out. Happy Monday. Welcome to PGA National. It's the first ever CKS charity golf tournament. We're going to go ahead and get started here. But I wanted to take a couple of minutes, welcome everybody, and just say thanks. Really want to highlight some of our sponsors: Grapefruit Trading, Pantheon Financial, Gregory Jones Architecture, Chernoff, FER, Eaton, Finn, all of you guys. This event couldn't have been put together without you. So we appreciate each and every one of you. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have a lot of fun. Got some great raffle prizes here. Lots of mulligans for sale. I said it once. I'll say it again. 10 at the door, 20 on the course. Get them now. Get them now. I'm looking at some of you. I know you're going to need them. I can tell. All right. We're going to do some things a little bit differently that you might not be used to at some other charity golf tournaments. We're going to provide a little bit of education here. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Ryan here. He's going to introduce Roger. We're going to get started and talk a little bit about some cryptocurrency and his real-world application in our industry, all right? Take him away, Ryan.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I really want to thank everyone for coming out and just being open-minded to a different way of operating an economic system. The gentleman that's about to come on, he's not on the screen yet, but was a large influence to me many years ago. I first heard about Bitcoin in 2011, but I never really touched it, didn't understand it. But it wasn't until 2015 I saw this guy who wanted to donate $100,000 in Bitcoin to a charity cause for Bernie Sanders and Adam Kokesh to have a debate. A different philosophical debate and just how to run an economic system. And from then, I have been following his work. He's been one of the biggest evangelists of Bitcoin. He is the founder of bitcoin.com, and he's known for the name of Bitcoin Jesus when he goes on television. So there's no more bigger rock star or OG in the crypto space than the gentleman you're about to see on the screen here. Roger is also a founder in many crypto startups. So when he found Bitcoin, he didn't stop there. He invested in the seed money that led to Ripple, to Zcash, to bitcoin.com, purse.io. Pretty much if you had any idea on doing something in cryptocurrency, Roger was writing checks or more likely sending Bitcoins. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Roger Ver.
Thank you for such a warm welcome, Ryan, and thank you to everybody for coming out so early this morning. It's really exciting to be able to tell anybody about this, and it's even more exciting to tell people that are interested and willing to come to this sort of event. So a little bit of the background details there, though. This is something that literally changes all of human civilization, right? The internet's done that, and now cryptocurrencies are doing that. And I don't know which aspects you want to touch on specifically there, Ryan, but happy to go wherever you would like to go. And thank you, Ryan, for really being someone out there to help spread the message. I see you're real active on social media, telling people about what a wonderful invention this is for the whole world. So thank you, Ryan, for that as well.
Thank you, Roger. Yeah, I first want to touch on what made you know this was going to be something big so early. In 2011 was when you initially invested, I believe, but we were all later. It's easy now when governments are making a currency and every institution is adding to the balance sheet. What gave you the foresight to be an early adopter buying Bitcoin so early? And what's the lowest price you ever bought Bitcoin at?
Yeah, my first Bitcoins I bought at a little less than $1 each. But the reason I was so excited about them is I was running a business called memorydealers.com, selling computer memory to people all over the world. And I don't know as much about the hospitality industry, but I know for sure with computer memory, it's one of the things that people love to try and buy with stolen credit cards. And so every single day we had people with stolen credit cards trying to defraud us and buy our product with these stolen credit cards. And it was a really big problem trying to detect all these fraudulent payment methods. And then I remember specifically there was one guy sent me an email one day, and his email started out with, I know you don't believe me, but I'm in Nigeria and I honestly do want to buy your products. And the guy was right. I didn't believe him. But it turned out the guy was a real customer who genuinely wanted to pay for my products from Nigeria. And I thought, I just felt so bad for this guy in Nigeria trying to be an honest businessman and buy stuff from people on the internet. And nobody would believe him, no matter who he goes to. And he said that he was going to send me the wire transfer in advance. And once it cleared, he would wait for me to send the parts to him. And when Bitcoin came along, it solved all of these problems because it allowed anybody anywhere on the planet to be able to receive a payment from anyone else anywhere on the planet and not have to worry about it being a stolen credit card or chargebacks or any of this nonsense at all. It suddenly allowed anybody anywhere to be able to send and receive these payments with anybody. So there was zero doubt in my mind whatsoever that people were going to start using it in e-commerce for payments for everything, not just computer memory, but anything and everything. And today, here we are more than a decade later, and it really is starting to get traction more and more places around the world. But there's a little bit of confusion in the world there, though, too. There's the one that's called Bitcoin, but there's other cryptocurrencies that actually work far, far better for payments today for e-commerce and in physical places. And Bitcoin Cash is my favorite one, but there's lots of them out there. And I'm a fan of anything that works, just like any entrepreneur out there. We need things that work in our business, not things that sound fancy. We need things that actually work well.
Right. Yeah. So for everyone watching online, you can see on the shirt here, BCH, please. Commercial kitchen stop. We happily accept it for payments. We happily pay vendors in it. And we also are going to begin doing payroll in it too. So we're trying to get in front of it. And like Roger said, this is like the internet. I believe, Roger, and tell me if I'm wrong, that every business needs computers and the internet. And I think that's what's going to happen with cryptocurrency moving forward. Would you agree with that?
It's just, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And it's just like you'll hear people often say, oh, is it too late for me to get involved in cryptocurrency? No, this is the future. It's like being in 20 and 21 and saying, oh, everyone else is already using the internet, so I'm not going to start using the internet because I'm too late to the party. No, the internet's part of everybody's life now, and cryptocurrency is going to be part of everybody's life now. So you're not too late to the party at all, and it will genuinely make your life easier and better. And if you've ever tried sending a wire transfer with a bank and having the bank ask a bunch of questions or pause the wire or reverse the wire, same things with PayPal and credit cards, like Bitcoin Cash solves all of those problems. It's just so much easier for everybody to use for payments. And Ryan, I'm so glad to hear that you're starting to do payroll and pay vendors and accept it for payments, because that's the entire point of cryptocurrencies. It's supposed to be used as a currency for people all over the world, and you're no longer dependent on these banks or other corporations or governments to issue money. We now have a freedom of choice in what form of money we get to use. And Bitcoin Cash is an absolutely amazing tool for business people all over the world to make their lives easier and more effective.
So I found Roger because I was really interested in something called the Austrian School of Economics. And Roger, I've heard you say in previous interviews how you read all these books, learned everything about economics, but it wasn't actually until a short stint in prison that you really understood the real application of how money worked. Do you mind sharing what you saw in prison and maybe why you were there?
Sure. So I'm sure everybody's wondering, what was I doing in federal prison? The short version of a longer story is that I sold firecrackers on eBay without a license, and I wound up being the only person in the entire nation to be sent to prison for selling those without a license. The slightly longer version is that I was spreading these ideas from Austrian economics that people being in charge of their own lives and their own destiny and their own money leads to a better outcome for everybody, rich and poor alike. And so I was reading all these books by people like Ludwig von Mises and Murray Rothbard and Henry Hazlitt and Frederick Hayek, and it really changed the way in which I viewed the world. And in these books, they covered the theory of the origin of money. How does something come to be used as money? And the answers in the books in regards to that was that they have to have certain characteristics. It has to be easily recognizable. It has to be easily divisible. It has to be easily portable. It has to be durable. It has to have a limited supply. It has to have all these characteristics. And as I was reading about these characteristics in the books, I was pretty convinced. It sounded pretty accurate to me. Like, okay, these books are probably right. But then when I was in prison, one of the first rules in prison from the prison guards is you're not allowed to buy or sell anything with anybody. You're not allowed to engage in any sort of business whatsoever. But trading with other human beings is what makes human beings, and you cannot stop it anywhere at all. And so, of course, everybody's busy trading with everybody inside the prison, but they needed money to do that. There was a little bit of barter, but money makes it so much more convenient to do things. And so just naturally inside the prison, people started using postage stamps, top ramen soups, and tobacco as money. Because if you think about it, those things all have these characteristics of that they're easily divisible, they're easily recognizable, They're easily transportable, and they all have a secondary function as well. So you can smoke the tobacco, you can mail a letter with the stamps, you can eat the top ramen soups. They all have these characteristics that make them useful as money. And so I had the theoretical evidence from these books as to what makes money money. And then I had the empirical evidence from my time in federal prison to see how things just naturally become useful as money. And so when Bitcoin came along, I had zero doubt. I had the theoretical evidence from the books, and I had the empirical, practical evidence from my time in federal prison. There was zero doubt in my mind whatsoever that people were going to start using Bitcoin as money. And the version of Bitcoin that made me so excited back in 2011, that version today is called Bitcoin Cash. And the thing that everybody's calling Bitcoin today is now just the speculative asset. And if people want to speculate on it, more power to you. You're free to do that. But in terms of being useful in commerce for payments and paying people and doing payroll and that sort of thing, Bitcoin Cash just towers over Bitcoin in terms of its actual practical real world applications. And so in the future, I'm much, much, much more optimistic about Bitcoin Cash because it actually works as cash and Bitcoin no longer does. And so that's the short version of what happened to me over the last 20 years of my life there. But it's been an exciting journey every step of the way. And I'm happy to expand upon any other parts of that people might be interested in.
Yeah, so I always found it interesting that you not only invested in Bitcoin, but you were there ready to invest in anyone that wanted to improve the space. What gave you the courage and the foresight to do it in an unknown asset class? That asset class that was getting raided by the police for, Ross Ulbright with the Silk Road, so many negative connotations towards it. What gave you the courage to go out and write checks to all these venture capital startups?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Silicon Valley, and so I was running, for those that are old enough to remember what a bulletin board system was, I was running one of the most popular BBSs in Silicon Valley, and I saw the internet come of age. And I remember in the early days of the internet, people said the exact same negative things that they said about cryptocurrencies. They said, "Oh, the internet's just for criminals. It's only for online porn. It's only for bad people doing bad things. Like, why would anybody ever need to use the internet? We have fax machines." And I hear the exact same sort of arguments about cryptocurrencies. So it's only for criminals. It's only for drug dealers. Why would anybody, need cryptocurrency? You have a bank account. You have PayPal. You have credit cards. But no, the internet was the future of online commerce. It was the future of communicating with other human beings around the planet. And cryptocurrency is the future of online commerce, and it's the future of transacting financially with other people around the world. And there's a fantastic essay I'd love to urge anybody to read later today. It's called I, Pencil by Leonard Reed. And it's basically the story of a pencil from the perspective of the pencil. And the pencil starts out by making a claim that there is not a single human being alive on the entire planet that knows how to make me, right? Meaning a pencil. And at first you think, well, everybody knows how to make a pencil. It's so simple. Like, what do you mean people don't know how to make a pencil? But then he goes into details to just how much work and effort there is to make a pencil. So, for example, there's the yellow paint on the outside of the pencil, and you have to dig up some yellow dye out of the earth. Maybe it's made of sulfur. I don't even know what the yellow comes from in the paint. And then they mix it with something else to make the paint. And then they have to chop down the wood for the trees to make the rest of the pencil. And chopping down the trees, you have to have chainsaws that are made with iron dug out of the ground somewhere else. And the chainsaws run on gasoline that's refined out of oil from the Middle East. And the oil is shipped on tankers to a refinery plant where they convert the oil into actual gasoline that can be used in the chainsaws. And then all the lumberjacks that are cutting it down, they have to, eat food and so there's a restaurant, and then there's all the stuff in the restaurant, and then the graphite inside the pencil is dug out of the ground somewhere else, and then the rubber for the eraser comes from the rubber trees in Thailand, and it's shipped here and there, and it goes to the whole story of creating a pencil. And by the end of the story, you realize that there isn't a single human being alive on the planet who actually knows how to make a pencil. But the key to that story is that the way all these millions of people are able to interact and with each other, to come together voluntarily without any central person organizing the whole thing, is money. Money transmits the information as to what resources should be used to allocate to build, pencils or pens or cars or chairs or all these things, and what the pencil should be made out of. Should it be made out of wood, or should it be made out of plastic or gold, or nobody knows. It's the pricing system that transmits that information all across the planet. So literally millions of people who have never met each other and know nothing about each other can come together to build, things as simple as a pencil, or things as amazing as an iPhone, or the computer that I'm talking to you on, or all the parts in between. And the more freely money can transmit around the world with the fewer roadblocks and the fewer interventions from governments or corporations or anybody else, the more effectively all of us human beings around the world can cooperate to come together, whether it's to produce hamburgers for people that want to play on a golf course, or restaurants, or absolutely anything you can think of. And so now the internet was the first step that helped us be able to communicate with each other and talk to each other and email with each other and text message. But now cryptocurrencies are the tool that enable capital to flow around the world and transmit that information more effectively. And so this is just the start of an increasing pace of innovation for all of humankind all over the world. So to get back to your question, why was I so excited about it and could take the steps before anybody else was willing to? Well, I knew I needed cryptocurrency in my own life because it would make my own life better. And if everybody else starts using it, it makes everybody else's life better as well. So this is literally one of the most exciting technologies for the entire planet to increase the pace of progress for all of humankind. So life is short. I'm already over 40 years old. My expected lifespan is about half over already. Maybe technology will be able to fix that, but it went by in the blink of an eye. So I really want to hurry up and make things as good for everybody as fast as we possibly can. And cryptocurrencies are one of the absolute best tools that we have to do that sort of thing. So that's why I was willing to put my capital on the line and start telling people about this amazing invention. So, and thank you, Ryan, for helping spread the word though too. It wasn't just me. There are people all over the world like you, Ryan, and others. And special thanks to Grapefruit Trading is one of the sponsors today.
Yes.
The guy who founded that unfortunately couldn't come today. He had a little bit of a family issue, but he got involved in Bitcoin even earlier than I did for very, very similar reasons. And here he is today, another big giant Bitcoin Cash fan, because that's the tool that can enable more progress for all of humankind, much more so than Bitcoin can at this point. And so that's why myself and Mike, and I think Ryan as well, are so excited about Bitcoin Cash today. It's because it's the tool that can literally help drive human progress forward at a faster pace.
So just so everyone in this room knows, if you're not familiar with cryptocurrency, it's currently nearly a $2 trillion asset class. It was a tiny fraction of that when Roger got involved. But Roger is largely responsible for today's market cap by investing all that money in all those startups. And in my opinion, is solely responsible for that first round in seed funding in the entire market. So Roger, thank you. Crypto would not be where it is without you. I have a little YouTube channel. My little business uses it. But really what you've done is incredible. And just so everyone knows, if you signed in today and put your phone number in, everyone here is going to get texted some Bitcoin Cash. It's very simple. Roger created a link. He's the founder of bitcoin.com. And literally, you can just text money. You open on your phone. Don't have to identify yourself. And you'll have this magical internet money where you can send any amount of money to anyone in the world for a fraction of a penny, and nobody can stop it. So just also the winner of today's golf course is going to get $600 in Bitcoin Cash, $150 for each player. So a little incentivation to hit him well out there. And at this time, I just want to open up the room to any questions for Roger while we have him here for a little bit longer.
And before the first question, actually, I'd love to pitch one more thing that I think everybody in this room will love. Since all of you are there in Florida, I assume everybody in this room shops on Amazon in the US. My favorite use case for Bitcoin Cash is a website called purse.io, P-U-R-S-E.io, where you can save 15% on every single purchase from Amazon.com. It's slightly a little bit more work, like hardly any extra work at all than just buying normally on Amazon, but you can save 15%. So anything that's normally $100 now costs $85, or something that's $1,000 now costs $850. And it's a really, really fantastic way to actually use Bitcoin Cash in your daily life to save money, because it's, everybody loves to save money. Well, here's a way where you can have fun and save money at the same time. And that's purse.io is that website. Please do consider giving it a try.
And if you go to my YouTube channel, I made a tutorial about how to use it. I buy everything on Amazon with Bitcoin Cash and save 15%. But Brian, you had a question? So Roger, we just had a question, and that question was, why Bitcoin Cash? And why Bitcoin Cash over the other 10,000 cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, so Bitcoin Cash is the cryptocurrency that at the moment is the most usable as cash for payments all around the world. So we have companies like PayPal have integrated Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin. You have BitPay with their merchants all across the world accepting Bitcoin Cash. You have GoCrypto.com rolling out Bitcoin Cash acceptance in millions of merchants around the world. Bitcoin Cash has the biggest network effect and the lowest fee, fastest, most reliable transactions of any network there. But the goal isn't just Bitcoin Cash. The goal is to provide this tool for the entire world to make payments easier and more freely accessible to people all over the world. If tomorrow I thought it was a cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin Cash, I'd be shouting about that cryptocurrency as well. Just like I used to shout about what was called Bitcoin, today I'm shouting about Bitcoin Cash. Maybe next year it'll be something else, but you'll hear me shouting about that one as well. But as of right now today, Bitcoin Cash is in the pole position in terms of the cryptocurrency that's the most likely to bring the most economic freedom to the most number of people around the world and improve their lives. And that's why I'm busy shouting about Bitcoin Cash. But if you're looking at it from an investment standpoint, have a diverse portfolio. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket either. You shouldn't only hold dollars. You shouldn't only hold Bitcoin Cash, but use whatever's useful to you in your life. But Bitcoin Cash, as you'll see, as you receive literally Bitcoin Cash via text message to your phone, it's just so incredibly easy to use for anybody on the planet. In fact, right before the call, I sent a little bit more Bitcoin Cash to Ryan via Instagram. You can send Bitcoin Cash via Instagram. You can send it via any platform. You can send a link. So it's really a powerful tool to enable people around the world to be able to do commerce with other people without needing permission from anybody. And that's a really big deal for all of humankind.
And just so everyone knows, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, they're deflationary. So there'll only ever be X amount of tokens. So with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, there'll only be 21 million ever mined. So that creates scarcity versus in the fiat system where the government has access to dollars and they'll print dollars in a way to invisibly tax its citizens to do things that does not exist in cryptocurrency. And one of the reasons I'm a big fan of it, because my wealth is not getting invisibly disappearing and taxed. Would you agree with that, Roger?
And I absolutely agree with that. And one other thing that I think I just want to point out to people, and not to dive too deeply into politics, but governments are incentivized to inflate the currency. And the reason for that is there's this thing called bracket creep. And so in the US, there's what's called a graduated income tax scale. So the more dollars you earn, the higher percentage of your income you have to pay in taxes. But if the government creates, 2, 3, 4, 5% inflation every year, in a decade from now, you'll be earning about twice as many dollars per year as you're earning now, even though it doesn't buy any more product. But because you're earning twice as many dollars, you're now suddenly in a higher percentage income tax bracket rate, even though you don't actually earn any more spending power each year than you were a decade ago. So that really is a sneaky way in which governments are able to raise taxes on people by slowly inflating the currency. Well, bumps everybody into a higher income tax bracket rate. So there's a solution to that, though, and that solution is to start using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Cash.
I believe that was Milton Friedman, right?
It sure was. I learned about that in a wonderful book he wrote called Free to Choose. And it really started to open my eyes, and still a very relevant book today for anybody that's interested in that sort of thing. Free to Choose by Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman.
Awesome. Any other questions in the room? We got a few. We actually have Mark Falzon here, Roger. So Mark is going to speak in the afternoon. Mark just got back from El Salvador, where they made Bitcoin legal tender, and it's been quite the controversy. And Mark will be able to share a lot after lunch. Mark, your question? So Mark just brought up a great point. We see in El Salvador Bitcoin becoming legal tender. It's being mandated on its citizens, and also was the question about the regulations? Yes. Roger, how do you feel about governments being the biggest proponents of cryptocurrencies, in this case, Bitcoin?
If it's a really good idea, it doesn't need to be forced on people. And so the fact of the matter is that Bitcoin no longer works as a currency very well. And so that's why they had to pass a law forcing people to use it in El Salvador. And so if something's good, people will just naturally start to use it. Nobody had to make a law to force people to use the internet. Nobody's having to make a law to force people to use these other cryptocurrencies today. So good ideas don't require force. If it's a good idea, please use persuasion to persuade your fellow man that it's a good idea to use something. And so thank you all today for voluntarily showing up today. Nobody had to force you to do it. And if you think Bitcoin Cash or something else is useful in your business, you'll voluntarily start to use it. You don't need a law to force people to use it.
Very true. Another question back here. Jeremy?
I'm curious to know what Roger thinks for fourth quarter predictions with BCH and if he's bullish or bearish on the market.
Roger, they want to know what you think about the fourth quarter here and this crypto bull run for Bitcoin Cash. Are you a trader in the market? You've been in it so long. What do you see for the short future?
The short answer is I don't know. The slightly longer answer is the more dollars the governments print or the more euros that the Europeans are printing, the more valuable these cryptocurrencies become, because so long as they actually work as money, right, you can still make payments for them. And I think the big deal with Bitcoin is that, and not to dive too deep at all that, but if you want to hold the cryptocurrency yourself, Bitcoin no longer works for that, because the fees are so high. If I wanted to pay each of you $5 in Bitcoin directly, it would cost at least $5 per transaction. Then the $5 that you received wouldn't even be spendable at all, because it would cost $5 to spend the $5 that you have. With Bitcoin Cash, the fees are about a fraction of a penny per transaction, maybe a 20th of a penny. So you can still transact directly with people all over the world and not need some custodian to hold it. If you're using a custodian to hold your cryptocurrency, you've lost most of the benefit of that cryptocurrency. And it's just so useful. Please give it a try on purse.io, and you'll just be amazed when you see how fast, easy, cheap, and reliable it is to use Bitcoin Cash to save money in your actual life.
So Roger was buying Bitcoins under $1. Today, Bitcoins are over $40,000 for one. So I don't think you get as shook when you see a 10% pullback or 20% pullback when you've seen 4,000% increases.
Yeah, don't panic sell is probably the other best advice that I can give you there too. 50% price swings are pretty common in crypto. The worst thing you can do is sell because you're scared the price is going down. Just wait and be calm, but don't invest more money than you can afford to lose, of course. But it's a volatile market because the market cap is still relatively small. As it grows to have more and more people around the world using it in commerce, it'll become a bit more stable with time. But it's still early days for all of this. It's just getting started.
Any other questions? All right. So Roger, we'll put some closing thoughts. If you can make one last pitch for me and my business to get the people in this room to receive it for payments, to accept it as payment, what would that sales pitch be?
It's faster, cheaper, more reliable than credit cards, and it works worldwide. You can literally accept a payment from anyone, anywhere in the world instantly, whether it's across the street or across the globe. And if you're using an account where you're holding the money yourself on your own wallet, like the bitcoin.com wallet, nobody in the entire world can block your payments. Nobody can freeze your funds. Nobody in the entire world can mess with your money. Not your bank, not the IRS, not the FBI, not anybody. So it's a really, really powerful tool to put people in charge of their own money. And when people are in charge of their own money, all sorts of wonderful things happen. When government's in charge of the money, all sorts of bad things start to happen. So I implore all of you to start being in charge of your own money. Pick a cryptocurrency and start using it as money, because that'll improve everybody's life around the planet, not just your own. But since we're all living here together, let's work together to do that. And the sooner we can start using cryptocurrency as money, the sooner that progress will start to speed up. So thank you all so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Roger, thank you so much for your time. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out for that. We got a fun golf tournament. We got tequila shots getting poured out there. We got breweries pouring beers. $600 cash prize. Stick around, raffles. We're giving out gift certificates. We got Salt 7. We got Coffee Colt. We got raffles for Oceans 234. We got it all. Let's go. Let's meet here after lunch. After lunch, 2 more guest speakers.
Hey, one more thing. 2 drink tickets right out front. See Janine, 2 drink tickets. All right, drinks on the course, 2 drinks on us. Don't forget it.